The government says that they want to fix the housing crisis, but are they actually making things worse? Senator John Kennedy just grilled a Harvard economist on whether federal incentives, or should we say threats, are the answer. Let me tell you guys, the response might surprise you. Are local governments really to blame, or is this just more top-down control? Watch this exchange, guys. Decide for yourself.
You did your PhD work at Chicago?
That's correct, sir.
Great school. You publish about 5 articles a year?
I don't know. I've published a few.
I appreciate your testimony because you not only talked about the problem, but you talked about possible solutions. No disrespect to anybody, but you know, revamping our appraisal process or title insurance or talking about power imbalances is not going to get homes built, not in a free enterprise country. Our problem is supply, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And the main reason we have a problem with supply is because of land use regulation, isn't it?
I've been saying that for 25 years, Senator. Yes, I agree with that very strongly.
And land use, zoning, some would call it, is within the job description of, to some extent, state, but mostly local government. Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
And Congress has a history, it seems to me. You can disagree, certainly, if you do, of just throwing money at the problem and trying to tell local government how to get more houses built. And local government takes the money and pushes back because politicians at the local level, they like to eat and live indoors too, and they like to get reelected, and they don't want to make anybody upset by changing land use regulation in a way to encourage more housing. Would that be a fair assessment? My words, though, not yours.
I will not disagree with any of those words, Senator.
Okay. There's a plan that's been talked about in Canada. And what the Canadians have, they're talking about it. It hasn't been implemented, but the proponent of the plan, I've talked with Senator Warren about this, has said, look, we need to incent local government to increase housing starts, but we need to use a carrot and a stick. What if America had a law, Congress passed a statute that said, look, we don't care how you do it, states, but you need to increase your housing starts by 3, 4, 5% a year. Do it however you want to do it. If you do that, we will give you extra federal money. If you don't do that, we will take federal money away from you until you start doing it. Would that work?
If you're willing to champion such legislation, Senator, I'm willing to be behind you. I think there are challenges with that in the U.S. The difficulties of taking away spending that was already expected may be particularly hard. It may be easier to do with discretionary grants than with spending that's targeted. I also think it needs to be targeted not to the state's level of production, but to production in the most productive parts of the state, right? We don't want California to meet its requirements by building in areas that are very far away from Los Angeles or San Francisco and, and so forth. But I think basically something that creates carrots and ideally sticks as well, that tries to encourage states to do the right thing. And from my perspective, the battleground of affordable housing is in places like the California state legislature. And I would love those legislators who want to do the right thing, who want to make California a state for outsiders, to be able to say, look, the federal government is pushing us in this direction too. Can we just not lose our spending for X? Can we do this? And I think that would be very powerful in the hands of state
legislators. Who would be best to decide the most productive areas to incent housing?
I would use Bureau of Economic Analysis numbers of output per capita. I don't think it's, but this can be debated. We can, lots of people. I would not hand it over to an agency, though. I would put it directly in the legislation.
Do you think our problem in America with housing is caused by a power imbalance?
I'm not sure I know what that means.
Me
Senator.
neither. Me neither. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, guys, do me a big favor. Hit that like button. Like this video if you think government intervention is making housing more expensive. You know, Kennedy is spot on about supply. Real issue isn't just affordability. It's supply. We aren't building enough homes, and excessive regulations are making it worse. Kennedy nails it when he points out that revamping the appraisal process or tweaking title insurance won't build more homes. We need action on zoning and land use laws. Local governments often refuse to change because politicians don't want to upset their voters, especially the ones that already live in expensive areas. The question for you guys: do you think, guys, that local leaders should be held accountable for blocking new housing development? And let's talk about those federal incentives. Is this a slippery slope? Kennedy brings up a Canadian-style policy: reward states that increase housing supply, penalize those that don't. Sounds great in theory, but is this just another form of federal control over local decisions? The expert agrees, guys. Carrots and sticks might work, but who decides where the new housing should go? Should bureaucrats in D.C. really have that power? Let me know what you think, guys. Should the federal government get involved in housing policy, or is this just another case of government overreach? And then we got to talk about the power imbalance argument. Kennedy shuts down the idea that a power imbalance is the real problem. The expert even admits that he doesn't know what that means. Instead of blaming vague imbalances, it's an imbalance. Shouldn't we be fixing bad policies that make housing unaffordable in the first place? Are we focusing too much on fairness and not enough on actually just building more homes? Now, guys, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. Do you think Kennedy's approach is the right one, or is there a better solution? And if you haven't yet, guys, subscribe to the channel for more conservative takes on the biggest issues. And guys, if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member and joining the movement. Guys, couldn't do it without you. All right, y'all have a good one. I'll catch you later with another update.